All right, so today I wanted to talk to you all about something that I'm dealing with right now with my own daughter. This pandemic has been extremely stressful and inconvenient, and all the other adjectives you want to give it, right? And we are feeling it, whether it's vaccine mandates or people, all of the things to divide us. Vax versus unvaxxed, masked versus unmasked. All the people who are really getting sick in Florida, our hospitals, our healthcare system is overwhelmed by all of the people who are filling up those beds, both vaccinated and unvaccinated, if we're going to be frank. And as a result, it's caused a lot of stress. It's caused a lot of anxiety for adults, right? We are afraid about getting sick. We're afraid of not being able to work and to be able to provide for our families. If our jobs close down, we might not have enough money to pay the bills. So many people are in danger of being evicted from their homes. If you're a homeowner, you are being hit because your tenants can't pay the rent. I mean, we're feeling it from so many different sides, and we focus on that because we're human. However, our children are taking a huge hit too. The number of children who are experiencing depression and anxiety has climbed astronomically. I have so many friends still in the school system who are social workers who are talking about the number of children who are attempting suicide. We know of kids who have committed suicide, kids who are engaging in harmful, destructive behaviors to try to cope. So they're cutting themselves, or they're taking substances to try to ease the pain. This is even impacting our littlest one. So to bring it full circle, my daughter, who is 9, she has been exhibiting definitely signs of anxiety, stress, and depression. She is not wanting to eat. I have to remind her, hey, you haven't had breakfast today, you need to eat. You need to drink some water. I know a lot of kids don't like to drink water. A lot of adults don't like to drink water, but I'm reminding her that this is something we have to do to keep our bodies healthy. She doesn't want to take a bath. Again, I know a lot of kids don't like to take baths. I don't know what that is. Taking baths, putting on deodorant, brushing your teeth, all of the hygiene things little kids don't like to do. I don't know what that is, but it is what it is. But I'm having to remind her to do those basic things. And I thought it was, kids being kids, but as I continue to pay attention to it, I noticed that this might be a little bit more than kids being kids. She was becoming, angry, like extremely angry, going from 0 to 50 really fast, lashing out at her siblings, physically hitting her siblings because of something very small that they did that she didn't like, or it made her upset. And I, would try to calm her down, take a minute to get her to calm down. And she says to me just the other day, Mom, I just want to bite something to make me feel better. And I was like, well, baby, and she had the kitchen towel in her hand. I was like, baby, you don't want to bite anything. That's not good. And she was like, well, sometimes I bite my cheeks when I'm so, angry and frustrated. And I was like, oh, don't bite your cheeks. You're hurting yourself. I'm trying to remain, calm, but inside, like, the red flags are going off. All of the alarms are going off. And then my heart is breaking because my child is hurting. And I didn't realize it had gotten to this point until this conversation. And I was like, no, baby, you don't want to bite your cheek. You're hurting yourself. You don't want to hurt yourself. And she was like, wow, I didn't think about it like that. Like I was hurting myself. So no, I don't want to hurt myself. So I was like, well, Do you want to talk to somebody? Do you want me to find somebody for you to talk to? I'm talking about a therapist or a counselor. And she says, yes, very fast. She tells me, yes, I want to talk to somebody. And so I've been in the process since this happened last week, contacting some of my friends who are social workers to see if they see children. They didn't, so they're referring me to other people, and I'm waiting to hear back so that we can get her into therapy. And talking to my husband about it, he was worried because culturally, a lot of Black people don't like going to therapists, because therapy in their mind is equivalent of you're crazy. Nobody wants to be perceived as crazy, so we would rather suffer in silence than get help. But I'm in therapy. This is a lot. This pandemic is a lot. Sending my kids back to school with everybody's just exposed to all kind of stuff. I'm a parent who wants my kids to wear masks. We wear masks everywhere we go, even though I'm vaccinated, to protect my children and to try to protect me, and whatever your views are about masks, this is not the forum for that debate. However, all of these things have caused all kind of anxiety for me. So I knew that the level of fear and anxiety that I was experiencing just wasn't healthy. I couldn't focus, I couldn't concentrate, I was dropping the ball at work and at home. So I reached out to somebody to talk to. And my daughter saw that. They know that mommy has a counselor, mommy has a therapist. So the fact that we have inadvertently established a culture in our home that if you need to, that mental health is important, right? When we feel sick in our bodies, we go to the doctor so that the doctor can help us feel better. Our minds are just as important. When we don't feel well in our minds, in our mental space, then we go to the doctor. We go to the professional to help us to feel better. So she wants to go to a therapist. I think for a 9-year-old, how intuitive of her to be even open for that. But as a mom, I'm like, what baby? She's experiencing the same anxiety and anxiousness, and those are the same words, my bad. Depression. I've had some low days too that I'm experiencing. And as her mom, my first inkling is I want to protect her, I want to help her, but understanding that I don't have all of the tools to help her, and that's okay. There are people who do have the tools, and there are resources, whether at school, the school guidance counselor, at church, the pastor or the youth pastor. There are organizations that are working nonprofit organizations that provide free mental health care for families and for children. Like, there are resources that are available, even more so now during this pandemic, because we're all feeling it. So even as the education enthusiast, you think, well, Dr. Joseph is just going to talk about, great curriculum, and what does the latest research say about this, that, and the other, right? With literacy and reading being my specialty, she's going to talk about literacy and reading and all of that. But education enthusiast means that any way that we can learn and grow so that we can support our kids, I'm enthused about that. I want to know, and what I know I want to share, because I know if I'm experiencing it, you might be as well. So if you didn't take anything from this very long video, I want you to take from it that your kids might be experiencing feelings and emotions that you are unaware of. And I would encourage you to kind of take a step back and watch and pray, to figure out, where they are. And if talk to them, ask them, how are you feeling? My husband and I have sat down at the dinner table many a night, since all of this has occurred and since our kids have gone back to school, and we check in. We have regular check-ins. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about COVID? How are you feeling about this pandemic? How are you feeling about school? How are you feeling? And we give them space and time to be able to talk about those things. And we pray as a family. We do read scriptures and talk about how do we apply that to our lives. So we have a devotion as a family. So we're giving them spiritual things and practical things to be able to help them. And I'm seeking out a counselor for my baby because I want to give her as many tools and resources that she can utilize to help her to manage these big emotions in a healthy way. And if she can learn to do that at 9, my God, she will be so much further along than half of us who had all kinds of things that we experienced as kids, but there was no tools or resources given to us to be able to navigate those things. So we carried it into adulthood and just messed up a lot of things and a lot of people and a lot of situations because we didn't know what else to do. We didn't know. You know, when you know better, you do better. So you have the power to help your child, to support your child in whatever way they might need your support. And I encourage you to do so. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I will put some websites in the description below that you could check out if your child is experiencing anxiety or depression or any of these other big feelings around this pandemic or returning back to school or elevating to a new grade level. All of those things are scary and they are a lot. They're a lot, and our kids rely on us to be able to figure out how to do all of the things, but you don't have to do all of the things alone. I am an advocate, and you're gonna hear me say this a bunch. It takes a village to raise our kids. No one person can do this thing by themselves well. I'm sorry, I'm not convinced. No one person. It takes a bunch of people, a bunch of big people, adults, who are committed to pouring into our kids and helping them to be the best version of themselves. That's all we can do. That's all we can hope to do. So I hope that you would invite me into your world to be a part of your village, that what I'm sharing with you will empower you to help set your kids up for success. So God bless you all. I am praying for you. I am rooting for you. Remember, you are your child's first line of defense, and any tool that you can have to pour into them so that they are healthy, well-adjusted, intelligent, walking in whatever gifts and talents that God has gifted them with, then that's what we want, and that's what we will maximize. So I don't have a really cool catchphrase at the end, but I'm gonna work on it. Y'all take care.